Hello everyone, today you'll be doing a beginner Python project, which is the percent calculator. Now what's the percent calculator? Let's say you wanted to buy a t-shirt that costs $250 and it's 50% off. How much would you really pay? Well, we can make a Python program to find that out. Let's get started. Now to show you the project that you'll be making by the end of this video, we said earlier that the t-shirt costs $250. And we said it was 50% off. It says type increase for percent increase or type decrease for percent decrease. Type decrease, enter. So what the t-shirt really costs, or what I will be paying, is $125. Now to start, you can either use Replit, which is a good place to start coding, or you can go to PyCharm and create a new file called %_calculator. And this is where you're going to be starting the project. Now to begin the project, we need some way of getting the initial value from the user. To do so, we can use an input function and ask the user for the initial value. What is the initial value? And we can store this into a variable called initial value. Next, we need some way of getting the percent amount from the user. We can create a variable called %, set it equal to an input function, and ask the user for the percent amount. What is the percent amount? Now, we need to find out if this percent is a percent increase or percent decrease. To do so, we can create another variable called %type and set it equal to another input function called type increase for percent increase or type decrease for percent decrease. Now this is the first step to getting the project moving forward. We've created three variables, %type, %, and initial value, and we've set them to input functions. Now we need to create two functions, one for percent increase and another function for percent decrease. To do so, let's create our first function called percent increase. And inside this function, let's just add the keyword pass. Now for our second function, percent decrease, we would also add the keyword pass. This keyword just tells Python to skip this part of the code, because if we would leave it empty, we'd receive an error. But if we add a pass, Python would just disregard the emptiness of this block. Now, using the % type, we need to decide if the user wants a % increase calculation or % decrease calculation, and we can find that out by using an if statement. If % type is equal to the string increase, we will lead the user to the % increase function. Elif % type is equal to decrease, we will lead the user to the % decrease function. However, if the user just types something random and it's not either increase or decrease, we must print to them, you typed incorrectly. Now, this if statement calls these functions and puts them into action. Now we've set up our code. All we need to do is actually calculate the % values, either add them and subtract them from the initial value, and we're good to go. So how do we actually calculate percentage? Well, we can multiply the initial value by the % value to get the increment, and we can add that increment to the initial value. Let me show you what I mean by this. The formula for % increase is initial value plus initial value times %/100. So we can write this in our % increase function. Let's replace pass with initial value plus initial value times %/100. And I'll add parentheses just to clear things up to show the order of operations. And all we have to do now is just return this value to the function. And we're done. We just repeat this to the % decrease function. All we have to change is the addition symbol to subtraction because it's a percent decrease function. Now, are we done with our program? Not quite, because if we simply run our code like this, we would receive errors. As you can see, we have highlighted cases over here which imply that there must be an error going on with our code. Now, the problem is we're multiplying two strings over here, and we remember that the input function by default is a string, not an integer, so it would be impossible to multiply two strings together, which is definitely why we're getting our error over here. To resolve this error, we can convert this input function into an int function. We can wrap them around these cases. Int. Now these are integers, and you can see that our issues have been resolved. However, I forgot to add parentheses here. When you declare a function, make sure to add parentheses to it. And something else we also need to fix is actually clear things up over here. We need to add quotes to show the user what they must type. Also over here for percent decrease. And let's add a colon over here, space. Next, we need to print these values over here because we've only returned them but never printed them. So we have to print these functions over here. So now we can test our code and we can run our code. What is the initial value? Well, let's say the initial value is $150. What is the percent amount? 20%. Is it percent increase or percent decrease? I'll type percent decrease. And $120. So our code is now working, but there are exceptions to this rule. What if the user typed in 20 with the percent symbol instead of just typing the number 20? We would definitely receive an error. Let's try it out. 150. Instead of writing 20 instead, we would add the percent symbol. You know, that's how we commonly represent percent symbols. And you see we get an error. So how do we fix this? I would like you to pause this video and try to fix this error on your own, and then we'll continue. So how can we fix this? Well, what if we can just remove the percent symbol from the entire string itself? How can we just remove this symbol and operate as we normally would? Well, we can make a quick Google search. How to remove a string. How to remove a character from a string in Python. And the first thing we see, we click it. How to remove a specific character from a string in Python. And using the replace string method or the replace function. And let's see the replace function in action. So as you can see over here, the replace function can be used in such a way. So string.replace character replacement count. So we can pass in 3 arguments. Let's go give it a try. So coming in here onto our Python interpreter, let's go back up and try to remove that symbol from the percent variable. So instead of making an int, we want to keep it a string. And let's say percent dot replace the percent symbol with the empty space. So we'll replace it with an empty space. And let's set this equal to percent. So let's make it equal to the new percent. Percent equals. So now we've successfully replaced the percent symbol with an empty thing, an empty character. And now let's make percent equal to an int. Percent will now equal the integer version of itself. So now we've removed this symbol, even if the user tried to input a percent symbol by chance. So let's rerun our code and see if that does anything. So what is the initial value? Let's say 150. 20%. And let's say decrease. And as you can see, our code did successfully bypass that error we received earlier, and we've got 120. So yeah, that's the percent calculator. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. Please like and subscribe to follow up on more programming tips and tricks as well as tech related videos. Thank you for watching.